this is just the 3 pillars of sustainability, and what we see is that in the middle, sustainability really is an overlap when all 3 dimensions are fulfilled. And you can be environmental sustainable, but if you're not economically sustainable, you as a company will die sooner than later. And I take the eye there from the angle from the right bottom corner, and I look at economic perspective, and that's basically what also says is we have a lot of economic pressure building up at the moment in the world of wine, and that is of course first climate change. So we have drought in Italy where we have less harvests, we have higher disease pressure, and if you look at the OIV data, we've seen that the last year we had the smallest harvest since 1960, and that is also because adapting supply, but it's also adapting to climate change pressures. We have economic pressure because consumers have less income, and that basically makes a difficult composition at the moment for the wine sector. What we also know, and this is a quote I quite like a lot, is whatever a company does, it can be very socially and environmentally sustainable, but it will not survive any day longer if it is not economically sustainable. And well, we in Geisenheim have a measurement tool. It runs over 30 years already, where we really measure the balance sheets and the income statements of the wine estates. And I can show you some results of how we present the results of the wine estates. And before the economic crisis hit in Geisenheim, so basically before 2022, we could see that already in 2010, 30% of the wine estates that participate in our analysis have not been economically viable. And again, you have the selection bias, so there are many out there who don't participate. So there is a higher share of them not being economically viable because they're not interested in it. And I can tell you that since then, the cost has increased by 30–40%, and the wine estates have not been able to carry them on to the market. This is just the concept of economic sustainability in the middle. And if you talk about sustainability as the 3 bottom lines, economic bottom line is very well known to most of you. You all have a household. So you have an income every month and you have spending every month. And I think you know that over long term, you can't spend more than you take in. Then you run into trouble. Then the bank will say, I'm sorry, we can't give you any more mortgage or any more loan. And that's basically what the companies have to be careful. And economics is a very simple science. It's plus and minus mainly. So it's very easy. So the revenues minus your cost is your business performance as the operating result. And that you need this to be viable in the long term. But by doing so, you also have to be careful that you have to cover the wage for your family labor. And we know that we have a lot of small family estates. And in the crisis at the moment, they start to tighten the belts and to start to go on diet and say, okay, we take out less money. And, you know, we have to work hard on the families just to survive and to not give up. But in the long term, you can't do that because the next generation will not come in if they have no promise of actually earning any money in the wine sector. And what you also need to have is you have to create an interest rate for your capital invested. Because if you don't invest in your company, sooner or later, you will realize that you're outdated, you have an old machineries, you're not up to date any longer. And we see a lot of wine estates who have stopped investing a couple of years ago. They will still run for a while because the vineyards are standing there, they can use the old machinery, but at one day when the tractor dies, the business dies because they can't invest in the new tractor. I don't want to singly focus on economic sustainability in the middle. Of course, there are interactions to the left and to the right. So if you look on the left-hand side, we have the ecology side. And we already heard that we have a positive benefit of our wine estates on the social total ecosystem, and that is biodiversity. We've heard this morning a presentation about carbon sinks in the vineyards. But of course, we also had presentations about we have to be careful about